Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Hi. Hello. Welcome, 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 everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello. Welcome, everyone. Hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, everybody. I'm Chrisnatha DeRosier. Hello. Welcome. Welcome. We are just waiting on our guest to arrive. Welcome, everyone. I'm Chrisnatha DeRosier, and this is the MasterPiece Lounge.
Hi,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
We're so excited to have you. Okay, so I pronounce your name Thamicha. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes,
Yes, I
you
got it. Woo!
actually got it right. How
Awesome.
surprising.
I'm so excited. I've been practicing all morning and I'm like, I need to get this thing correct.
That is too funny. No, you were saying it perfectly correct. You were saying it correct.
Wonderful. Well, hello, Tamisha and everyone. On behalf of Swag Her Magazine, I'm Chrisnatha DeRosier, and this is my segment called the MasterPiece Lounge. And today, the title of our wonderful chat that we're going to have is um, Being Alive in Your Life. Being alive in your life. So many people are living, but they're not alive. They're not alive in their life. And you, ma'am, are alive in your life. And I just want to brag on you just a little bit. So I'll try not to embarrass you. So I'm only going to read a little bit of your bio, but I have to brag on you just a bit. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to read a little bit from it.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So, Tamisha, she is the CEO and the founder of Openly Positive. Um, you are an HIV activist, you're an advocate, and you, at the age of 19, you were diagnosed, and after accepting your diagnosis, you literally turned your pain into power. And you became a counselor, you became a life coach, and you speak across the country, and you are a mom. So you are literally a shero, literally a shero, and you dedicate your life to be a voice for the voiceless and to bring strength, comfort, and letting um, other people who are HIV positive know that that you are with them in their fight against the stigma of being HIV positive. So I wanted to ask you a few questions because I just love your story and I think it's fascinating for everyone to hear. And if you could just share a little bit of your testimony with us concerning your journey, um, starting from the point of you being diagnosed and you really accepting that diagnosis, and then how your life has completely transpired after that point.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you again, Chrisnatha, for having me on your segment. And I love your segment masterpiece because as women, we are masterpieces, right? We have so many different hats that we have to wear. As you mentioned, I am a mom, I am an advocate, I am a counselor, I am a life coach, and being diagnosed with HIV at the age of 19 years old, when I got that diagnosis, first of all, I thought that my life was over before it was even beginning, right? I thought that my life was over before it even began. And I was blessed to have an earthly angel who became my caseworker. And she was the one that actually poured into me. She made sure that I went to training and I knew what was happening in my body. I knew what was going on and that I would live and that I wouldn't die because HIV was no longer a death sentence. And through her mentorship, even though for a long, long time, I I would go, I get the training, I learn what I learned. I became a peer educator back then at 19, but I never did anything with it because I didn't know how to use my newfound gift and my newfound voice and ability to go out there and talk to people because I wasn't confident within myself. I wasn't confident being positive. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how things was going to change for me. But I trusted the process anyway once I found forgiveness within myself and also forgiving the person that infected me. So that's when some of the healing started chipping away and I started beginning to heal when I forgive the person that infected me, forgive myself, and choose to live over living a life that was dark, depressive. I lived a long time in depression, even after I had my kids, even after I was married and divorced. I
Mm-hmm.
I lived a life of depression for a very long time. So from 19 up until I would say like around when I turned 30. When I turned 30, I started looking at life differently. I started seeing things differently. I wanted different goals. I wanted to be more than just this depressed woman that's in the house with her children not having nothing to do. So I went back to school. I started going out and meeting new people, networking as they will call it. And in that journey, I found that there's so much more to me. There's so much more that I can offer to the people and be a voice for the voiceless by telling my story, by standing in my truth and letting them know that we are in a we so we're in a world where this system that we're living in, it's built to put us down. It's built to keep us in a certain bracket or box, so to speak. And I have this thing where I'm like, I can't live in a box. I can't. I can't be in a box because I need to just explore, be me, be free to be me in all aspects of me. And when I turned 35, I lost my job. I lost my home. I was living in a hotel. And that was just one of the lowest point in my life, the lowest point in my life. And in that moment, I received a call from someone who knew me and who knew about me being HIV positive and who also know the kind of person that I am. And she was like, people need to hear your story. People need to know who you are, what you do. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I want to do that because I was busy worrying about others instead of worrying about me. I was preserving other people's feelings and other people, what others is going to think, what my mother's going to think, what my family's going to think, what my friends is going to think. And I'm busy worrying about them. Meanwhile, I'm slowly dying inside because I can't live my full potential because I'm totally living a lie. I'm not living in my truth. I'm not living in my authentic self. So after I thought about it, I'm like, what's the worst that can happen if I do this and just tell the world that I'm HIV positive? What's the worst that can happen? And in doing that, not only did I free myself, but I was able to now free so many other people because at 35, my kids are way older than when they were younger. Now I'm homeless, mind you, but I still have life. I still have hope. There's so much that I want to do. And I went back to school and that's when I became a counselor, an HIV counselor. And I continued going back to school. Then I got a job doing exactly what I love, doing exactly what I want to do, counseling women, empowering women, and letting them know that not because you have an HIV diagnosis, that means that it's the end of your world. One. Two, HIV does not define you. An HIV diagnosis definitely does not define who you are. It definitely doesn't define me. So then by doing that, I was going to school for becoming a life coach. And in December of last year, I graduated, and I am now a certified life coach from BCLA, the Breakthrough Coaching Leadership Academy. Yeah, and
Awesome.
and doing all of that, I started creating and implementing my own courses. So I actually have women that I do mentor. I have a program that I have where positive young girls come through my program, and through that program, it's beneficial to them because what I do is I help them develop leadership ability. I also help them improve their interpersonal skills while
Mhm.
also counseling them, letting them know that they don't have to be ashamed of their diagnosis, and guiding them and helping them to break free from the stigma, because people don't die from HIV. They don't die because they have HIV. They die from a lot of other things. They die from the complications, also from the stress and the stigma of the community, of their family, of society. And it it takes a toll. It definitely takes its toll.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I could definitely see that. And when you said that HIV is not a death sentence, when you were telling your story, I feel like not only is it not a death sentence physically, it doesn't have to be, but it sounded like at the beginning of your journey, it felt like a death sentence for you emotionally, mentally, because to really grasp the reality of that, I can't even imagine, just mentally, grasping that this is my life, maybe having misinformation about it, maybe feeling like, okay, so is there purpose after this? And for you to, um, of course, going through the different changes, but finding purpose in it, even through the pain that you went through. And so I think it's so beautiful that you've been able to come out on the other side of this. And as an HIV advocate, how did you see the opportunity in the midst of the opposition that you were going through?
So the opportunity came for me at 35, when going through my own personal struggle with not being having access to health care the way I was supposed to, because I lived in New York before, and then I wanted change. I wanted, something different. So I moved to New Jersey, and the transition from New York to New Jersey is two total bar game when it comes to care and HIV. And I found that the so for me to get access to my just basic medical care and medical needs, it was a challenge. Then I was out of medication for 6 months
Wow.
because they couldn't get the insurance, the family care insurance, right. Then they wanted me to pay this crazy premium, and I'm like, I don't even make that much. How do y'all
Right,
want me to
right.
come up with this amount of money? And I don't even make that much. And the assistance and trying to get help just to start over, it was very challenging. And I'm like, if this is happening to me, I know it's happening to other people too.
Hmm.
And that's where that opportunity came up, and that's where Openly Positive was born, because I'm like, well, of course, I attempted suicide twice, so that's another component. And I'm like, there has to be a better way. There has to be somewhere where I can use this as a lesson, and also
Hmm.
as an opportunity to create something that's not there, because the agencies that are supposed to assist you and that are supposed to help you navigate through these crises that you're having, they do the bare minimum. So that's where my drive comes in, and that's where the opportunity came in for me, because I saw the need, I saw the opportunity, and I was like, there's a gap, I need to fulfill it. And that's where that came about.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you stepped into that role. I know that you are so helpful to so many people and they need you. And I think it's so beautiful when we can take our past pain and say, how can I find purpose even in this? You know, because it took time to forgive yourself, I'm sure. It took time for you to said to forgive the person who infected you. It took time to accept your new reality. And so I'm so glad that you came on the other side of this where now you can use this pain for purpose for other people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I do want you to tell us a little bit more about your work with as being a counselor and a transitional life coach. How
Sure.
do you find your clients? Is there like a because I know people might be, are they ashamed to tell
So
you their diagnosis?
so on my website,
Mm-hmm.
on my website, I'm in the process of revamping it though, but on my website there it says there's a resource, and there's also a tab where it says services. So in my services tab, I have one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and other services that I offer. I also facilitate a women's group every Thursday virtually. So there's also that information that you can register. It's through Zoom. It's free. And of course, my coaching session, the first time it's free. And then after that, for a 6 month period of time, there's a fee that you have to pay. And that's how people find out about it. And of course, referrals and someone who knows someone, or people who know about what I'm doing, they will refer them to me, or an agency that I collaborate with, they will refer them to me. So that's how I get my clients.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And is your clients, is it women, men, or is it just
So
everybody?
it's both. It's women, men, and teens. It's both.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, the majority of my clients are women.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. And I do want to know, you did mention, and I did read that you are a Caribbean woman.
I am.
Right. So which island? Where are you from?
I'm from Saint Martin. I'm from Saint Martin.
Oh, say that one more time.
I'm from Saint Martin. Saint Martin. Can you hear
St.
me?
Martin?
Yes.
Now I can. You said St. Martin.
Yes.
Did I get that? All right,
Yes.
great. Okay. And then I know my family's from Haiti. So I have a
Okay.
Caribbean background too. And so I know that there's a lot of additional stigmas in the Caribbean world. And so I wanted to ask you, have you seen a different, like an additional layer of stigma with the Caribbean community? Because I know for me, when things happened at home or there was like something I didn't want to share, my family was good about, hey, leave this with us. Don't tell anybody. Keep it in the house, right?
It's the
Don't
same.
share. Don't be too
It's
open.
the
Is
same.
that the same thing?
It's exactly the same. So the stigma in the Caribbean, though, even here in America, you'll be surprised.
Mm,
The stigma stems from a lack of education. It
okay.
stems from also, I'm gonna say, in 2020, willful ignorance, and the 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 need to not want to be informed with the right things that are
Right.
medically and scientifically accurate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you know that I'm married, you know that I have two children. They are negative. Even though I'm HIV positive, but I am undetectable. I've been undetectable for a very long time. And for people who don't know what that means, undetectable is U equal U is a campaign that was launched like about 4 years ago. And what it stands for is undetectable equals untransmittable. I had my first son in 2006, and I was undetectable in 2006. I had my second son in 2009. I was also undetectable then. So henceforth, they're negative, and so is my ex-husband, and so is my second son's father. Um, Undetectable means that when you have a viral load below 20 copies. So every state have their sensitive and super sensitive tests that they do. Some do below 20, some do below 50 or 45. Every state is different. In New York, I know they do the super sensitive testing when they test for your viral load, which is the amount of virus that's in that blood that they take. And I've been undetectable ever since.
Awesome. Awesome. That's really, really awesome. So great to hear that. And for your children, I know you mentioned that they are older. Are they aware of, I know
Yeah,
they're aware of the work that you do. Are they aware of your status as
yes,
well?
yes.
Okay, awesome.
They So when I decided to go public about my diagnosis, they were the first ones that I actually sat down and I spoke to about what was going to happen, what I'm doing, and they were at that time they were they were 12 and 6, 12 and 6, because now they're
Hmm.
14 and 11. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's so
So
good. Glad that you were able to really, because I think coming from you, it would be, it's the best way for them to kind of understand and get educated because you're teaching them the right way. You're teaching them things beyond the stigmas, not what people think, but the facts. So it's really good that you were the one to sit down and talk to them first.
I always talk to my sorry, I always talk to my boys, even now, because last year in school, prior to us going into quarantine, my son actually had evidence-based practice come to his school for his sex education, and they talked about STDs and STIs and HIV and transmission and condom use and all that other stuff. Because of the work that I do, I also teach them these things. So he was aware, and he was a little bit advanced to his peers when that class came around because I teach it to him. And he actually told the counselor when she came to facilitate her, he was like, "Oh, my mom does the same thing."
That's awesome. That is awesome. I have two additional questions for you.
Yes.
I do want to ask you, how soon should someone get tested um, if they have had unprotected intercourse or they're nervous? They're like, I don't know what's going on. How soon after do you think they should go in and get tested?
So so for those of you who don't know, there's something called PrEP, and PEP, right? So there's
Okay.
something like a morning after pill. So let's say, for instance, you had a slip up and you think that you might be infected. You can go to the drugstore, CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid, all of them sell it, and you can get, it's like a over the counter morning after pill, and it's called MPEP, and you take that for but you have to do it within 72 hours. I say you take, you have to do it, not me, but science say that you have to take a blood test every 3 to 6 months. That will determine whether you will know if you're HIV positive, if you have contracted HIV or not.
Okay. Okay, awesome. And so main thing for people to know is to be responsible, right? Is to
Absolutely.
take the extra minute or few seconds, right, to use protection. Um, it could prevent so many other things, unwanted pregnancies and of course any STDs or
STDs,
HIV.
STD, yes, absolutely. There's also PrEP. PrEP is a pre-prophylactic medication that you will take every day like a vitamin, and it's for people who are HIV negative. So let's say, for instance, if you're in a serodiscordant relationship, meaning one person is positive, one person is negative, in conjunction of using condoms, if you want to be extra careful, you the negative party will take PrEP, and that will also serve as a barrier from contracting HIV, according to science.
Okay, good, good stuff, good stuff. Because I think sometimes, I know I had a conversation recently with someone, and I said, I feel like people lately, when I listen to conversations, they're more concerned with, unwanted pregnancies, but they are not so concerned about any
STDs.
STDs, any
Yeah,
crazy. And then I'm
and
like, aren't you guys nervous about this? A lot
and
more young adults are openly talking about um, having sex without protection. It almost being a cool thing,
oh,
which is concerning.
they are very clueless about a lot of things. Um,
Yeah.
I actually was fortunate to be a part of a program where I went into the school and we actually did an evidence based practice program with some middle schoolers to high schoolers. And some of the things that will come out of their mouths would be crazy. And so when I would talk and I have this game that I play with them and it's called Don't Pass It Around. And the, the game pretty much goes, I give out these cards, and on these cards there's letters, just letters on it, and I give them instructions, and I we play this. It's like musical chairs, but instead of musical chairs, it's with this card. They don't have to write anything on the card besides the person name. So I play the game. I throw out a scenario, and I was like, okay, you need to talk to this person for a certain amount of time, and then I'll clap and I'll say switch, and then they'll switch. But the only thing they're writing on the card is the person's name. When they flip the
Mm.
card, there's different letters. So there's O for outer course, there's U for unprotected sex, and of course there's the HIV. But no, there's only like two cards that has HIV, but no one knows who has it because they don't know that that's what it stands for
Wow.
until I wrap it up and then the game stops and everybody sit down and I was like, if you have a O, stand up, and then I'll be like, okay, you're safe from this or safe from that. You played around, you didn't do too much because you had outer course. Now, if you have a you need to come with me because you've been infected with, and then the whole classroom gets interrupted and they're like, oh, and I'm like, this is how stuff is passed around. You have fun, you play, you don't ask questions, you're just talking, you're just having fun, and just like that, that's how you get infected
Mm. Wow.
without
That is
taking
so
the proper
crazy. But that,
precautions.
yeah, you're right. You're right. You have to be super precautious because just a moment can change your life. Just a moment. And so it's really important
Absolutely.
that we are
We have to be respect. We
responsible.
can have fun. We can have fun responsibly.
Yes. There you go. Have fun responsibly. Everybody watching, have fun responsibly. Awesome.
Absolutely, you
Awesome.
have to
So,
have fun responsibly.
yes, you do. You do. Because we're responsible. We're responsible, and it's important that we make decisions that reflect what we want to see, and so that we are keeping in mind that it's not just us; it's someone else's life, and being honest to other people as well about if you have a status and you know it, right? That you should be honest and open about that. But us
That's
as
my
guarding
whole
our own lives,
motto.
we want to make sure that we're careful.
That's my whole motto. My whole motto is we definitely, when it comes to disclosing, I tell all of my lady clients this because I do have some who struggle with that. And that's the thing. They don't feel like when they tell that they will be received the same way. But it also puts them in a dangerous spot because people
Hmm.
are crazy. And there's people out here who are scared of any little thing, much less HIV, even though it's not that sentence anymore. They will kill you. You will come up missing someplace. So my whole thing is you have to that's why you have to empower yourself. You have to empower
Yes.
yourself in a way where you are confident regardless to what that outcome is going to be. And I'm speaking from experience because these are games that I played with myself. Like I played these games. I will go on dates with men, and the men that I didn't like, it was so easy for me to tell them. And the ones that I did like, it was harder for me to disclose to them. And I would play this game until I master it to the point where now I'm openly positive and I'm open about who I am. But disclosing, not only does it give you does not only does it give the other person power and a choice, it gives you even more power because now you have the power to decide whether you want to deal with this person or not. And when you don't disclose and you're still so secluded in your secret or holding on to something because you're scared, you're ashamed, the stigma is driving you crazy, you tend to be more susceptible to domestic violence, to stay in relationships that you shouldn't be in, to partake in relationships that you shouldn't even partake in to begin with, because you haven't fully opened up yourself and let go. Not to say let go, but fully open up yourself to be used, to be a voice, to be a vessel for a cause greater than yourself.
That's
I
so
have
good.
these 5 P's concept that I use, that I tell my mentees. The first P stands for prayer, right? The prayer is for conception. The second P is for preparation, right? The preparation is the fertilization of whatever that is that you're planning on doing. The third P is for purpose. Your purpose is to maintain whatever it is that you want to do. The fourth P is for passion. Your passion is for patience. And your fifth P is for provision. Your provision will be your benefit. Everything that you want, everything that you want to do, you possess. You possess it. You possess the power to be and do any and everything that you want to do, regardless to
Amen.
what your diagnosis is.
Amen.
And those are
I'm
one
in
of the
agreement.
key fundamentals that I like. When I talk to my girls, these are the things that I tell them all the time. Like, those are the principles, because when you it doesn't matter what's happening in life. We're already living in a world where we are doomed by birth. From the time we are born, we're doomed, especially people of color. We
Mm-hmm.
are not given the same privileges. We are not given the same advantages as other people. So therefore, we have to work twice as hard, twice as long, and to reach the pinnacle that we want to reach. And the only way by doing that is to be consistently healing, consistently thriving to be a better person, consistently looking to grow in different areas of your life, and also bringing other people along with you and assisting other people. That's the whole fun. Like, to me, God is everything. Yes, I'm crazy in all my ways, but God is the center of my all and end all be all. He really is. Without him, there would be no me. Without him, I wouldn't be here talking to you right now. Without him, I wouldn't have the courage, the strength to even talk about a situation that is so dire as having an HIV diagnosis, and knowing that the world looked at you in scrutiny and turned up their face at you, but here you are in all of your glory and all of your shine. You showing up, honey. You showing up. And these are the conversations that I have with myself. No, seriously. These are the conversations that I have with myself and that I have to have with myself, because nobody else is going to do it for me. And when I realize
Yeah.
that there's no one coming to save me but me, that's when I had to snap that out of whatever rock
Come
I
on.
was under. I had to snap it out of it, because no one is coming to help me. No one is coming to save me but me.
Mhm.
I have to do the work. I have to come out here and put on a face. And if I go home and lock up myself and cry at night, nobody don't know that but me.
That's a whole word right there. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is coming to save us. That is absolutely correct. And like you said, once you had that realization, you just was like, I have to, if I'm going to live, I'm going to be alive in my life. And you truly, truly exemplify that through the work that you do. Something you said earlier, when people don't disclose the fact that they are HIV positive, when you are dishonest with somebody or you omit some information that could affect their life, you take their choice away. You steal their choice. Because now, with the information that I know, I can now make a choice to be with you or not. And whether or not that may feel like rejection, you would rather somebody go ahead and reject you than for you to feel like you stole somebody's choice. And so I want to thank you for that. But yes, nobody's coming to save us. Absolutely nobody. And like you said, you said that we just have to listen, we got to do what we got to do. And you have truly exemplified that. And I'm super, super excited to now be connected to you. And I'm in support of
Absolutely.
your mission and the work, your life's work. I believe this is your life's work. And I love that how you can take a mess, what some may consider a mess, and turn it into such a powerful message. And the work that you're doing with the ladies too, it's so beautiful because it's not just let me try to keep you healthy, let me try to give you facts, right, and statistics, but also what got you to the point of getting diagnosed with HIV? What moment, what emotion, what emptiness, like what made you feel like maybe you had to seek love in this way, or got you into a situation where maybe you got connected with somebody who you shouldn't have been connected with, or made a decision that you shouldn't have made at the time? So if you can kind of get to that place in a person, then you can really help them transform their life moving forward. And so your work is amazing. And so we
We dig deep.
appreciate that so much.
And my groups, we go deep. We go to
That's
the
good.
root of
And you
things.
have to. You have to, Tamisha, because it is through it's really getting to the root. Getting to
That
the root.
in all aspects of our lives, like even people who are not suffering from diagnosis of any sort, right? We all have traumas. We all
Yes.
have different traumas, different levels of our lives. And the only way for us to truly be content, happy, and live a life that's freeing is going to the root of things. Sometimes it causes discord. Sometimes it disrupts things. We,
Yeah.
I don't know how old you are, if me and you are around the same age, but I'm a Xennial. So I
Yeah,
was
we're in the
raised,
same range. I'm
I was
34.
raised by a boomer,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not a millennial, but I I'm in between, right? My
Yes.
boomer mother believes in sweeping things under the rug. She believes in turning the other cheeks. She don't believe in speaking her mind. She don't to this day, she doesn't believe in nipping things in the bud. I am not like that. You do something, we're going to talk about it. I don't care
Yes.
how I will yell, I will scream, I will curse, but you're going to hear me. You're going to hear me. And then when the dust is settled, we could come back again and have the same conversation, this time a little bit more calmer, but you will hear me the first time. I do not believe in allowing things to fester.
Yes.
If something happens or something is happening, talk about it. I was molested at 7. I was molested at 7. I did not tell my mother until I was 27 and pregnant with my second son. I told her at 27 years old. And my mother, being the perfect Caribbean mother that she is, you know what her response to me was? You liked it, and that's why you didn't say anything.
Wow. 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 That's heavy. That's heavy.
I love my mom,
That's
and I
heavy.
have
But yeah,
forgiven her.
it's
But
so hard because it's like, why don't you get it, mom? Why don't you understand me? But we just have to love people where they are. But I'm so proud that you have the inner strength that you have, and sharing this because I've shared it before. We have similar stories. I was molested at 7, and I didn't say
wow,
anything till 25, and
wow.
my mom was like, "Are you gonna tell other people?" I said, "I'm telling everybody," and I did. It made her like uncomfortable. She was like, "Can you just not talk about?" I say,
Oh,
"No, I
of
got my
course.
voice now, baby. I'm talking. I'm telling."
But it's so freeing. I remember the day when I went, it was on a Facebook Live, by the way, when I told all of this. I told about me being molested. I told that I was homeless. I told that I was HIV positive. My mother didn't speak to me for months. For months, she didn't speak to me.
Because you embarrassed her? Because you said too much? Yeah.
So
That's that
my
Caribbean
cousin,
stuff.
my cousin, one of my cousins called me and she was like, "Well, the shit has hit the fan." I was like, and at that point in time, I don't, seriously, it really was God, because I didn't care what anybody said. I didn't care what my mother thought. I didn't care what my mother said. I did not care anything. I knew that I was finally free. I could just be me. I didn't have to put on a face anymore. I didn't have to be the big elephant in the room when I go to family functions or family events or any event for that matter. This one in the corner talking about me, that one in the corner over there talking about me, or friends or co-workers. Oh, the world know now. So what?
Yes. That is such freedom where you don't have to live thinking about other people's feelings about you, where you can just say, I am who I am. You're with it or you're not, but this is who I am. That is, it's such a freeing thing. And I'm glad that you are not only doing that, in your own life, but you're teaching other women how to do it, because for so many of us, we don't have our voice, and we feel like we're always mindful of someone else's thoughts. And I know for me, my thing was with my trauma, I don't want to hurt my parents. It's like, why is a child carrying that type of burden on their little shoulders, right? And so once I became free of that, I was like, this is amazing. Now I feel like I'm living, right? Because I'm able to just be. So it's beautiful.
Not only are you worried about them, you're not even worried about yourself, because you know you could handle a lot of things, right? You're worried about how other people will view them. For me,
Hmm.
because of St. Martin being so small and my mother being who she is and how she lived and who she is in the community, it was like, oh my God, this one is going to look at her that way, or this one is going to be saying this about her. But it wasn't about my mom. It was about me, though.
Yes.
And once I had that conversation with me and I understood that me not saying anything and speaking up, it's not hurting her or doing anything to her. I'm still her daughter. I will still continue to be her daughter, and she will continue to be my mother until the day we are no longer on this earth.
Yes.
And I respect her. I love her. I would die for her. What I will not do is compromise who I am, compromise my voice, compromise my calling. And by me not speaking up and speaking my truth and living in my truth, I was compromising my calling.
Hmm.
My calling is not my mother's calling, it's my calling. So therefore, she
Yes.
wouldn't understand what it
Yes.
is that I had to endure, what I have to do, or what I'm doing. And that goes for anybody in your life who, the naysayers, who negate your purpose and your calling and your cause. It's not for them to understand. It's for you to understand. It's for you to know what it is you're doing, what your purpose is, what your calling is, and for you to work towards that and seek guidance in your calling. You don't have to answer to anybody.
Agreed. 100%. As we honor our gifts, honor our calling, we are also honoring God, the giver of the gift, the giver of the calling,
Absolutely.
and people will eventually fall in line. We don't have to worry about, oh, well, they'll
Yes.
eventually get it. As long
Yes.
as you're in alignment with the calling on your life, things will fall in place, and that's even relationships. So, man, that was so good. Thank you. You are
No.
such a light. I've enjoyed our time. I feel like you're my soul sister, and
Oh,
I'm
thank
excited
you.
to
Thank
now
you.
be
Thank you.
connected with you. I
Same
do
here.
want you to tell us, how can we stay in touch with you?
Absolutely. So my website, www.openlypositive.com. I
Mhm.
always have resources there. So if you feel like you need to get tested, there's links in my resource center that you could type in your zip code and it will tell you the centers that will provide you with testing and counseling in your area. Also on IG, you can follow me at Openly Positive on IG. Also, I have a Miss Nisha's Openly Positive group that you can follow me on, and also Miss Nisha 721. That's how you
Awesome.
can follow me.
Awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you follow Miss Thamicha and also at Openly Positive, both Instagram and openlypositive.com. And also, we're encouraging you to be responsible, have fun responsibly, use protection, get tested if needed,
Know your
take the
status.
stigma out of this. We want to be responsible adults. And
Yes.
also, if you know someone who is HIV positive, don't treat them like they have the plague. They have a heart, they're human, and take the stigma out of it. Love on them and get informed. Get informed. And thank you for your
Become an
work that you're
advocate.
continuing to do. Be an advocate. Oh, that's good. Be an
Yes,
advocate.
become an advocate.
Yes.
You do not have to be HIV positive to be an advocate.
I'm
Our
so
words
glad that you said
matter,
that.
right? Our words matter. So there's the National Black Justice Coalition that's
Hmm.
run by David John, who's like one of my favorite person in like the whole wide world. They have these hashtags, right, that you can use. It's called hashtag your words matter, hashtag end HIV stigma, hashtag start talking and stop HIV. We these are the things that we can do as a community. You can do this wherever you are. There's things that you can do. Become an advocate. You do not have to be HIV positive to become an advocate, nor do you have to know somebody. Just the mere fact that you have a heart, that you are human, you can show compassion, you can show empathy. People who are
That's so
HIV
good.
positive, this is something that people don't know. People who are HIV positive, especially the ones who are not openly positive like me, they live a life of total isolation.
Mm,
They live a life of isolation. They live a life very secluded and away from everybody, and sometimes very toxic to self. Because not only the stigma from society and the outside world affects them, but their self inflicted stigma is the worst. So
wow.
like you said, shed some light, be empathetic. Our words matter. The way how we communicate with each other, especially in a time such as this, is so imperative. Become an advocate. Get tested. Encourage someone else to get tested. You know, if you see me post something, especially when it comes to like joining a Zoom group, if it's exclusively for HIV positive people, then I wouldn't publicly post it. But usually when I post something public, it's because it's open to everybody, not only to HIV positive people. Join the conversation. It's time for us, especially as a Black community, for us to start talking about the difficult
Absolutely.
topics that we have such a hard time talking about. That's the only way
Absolutely.
we can heal and grow together and come up with solutions for these things to never repeat themselves or happen again. I was diagnosed at 19. I was molested at 7. I don't want another young girl to go through what I went through. But yet, here we are in 2020, and it's still happening.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes, it is. It's still happening, unfortunately. And so, guys, we need all of your help. All of you who are watching, we need your help. Be an advocate. And I'm so glad that you said that, Tamisha, that you don't have to be HIV positive to be an advocate. So many times we think that something has to affect us personally firsthand for us to be a voice for it. So thank you for making that clear. Be an advocate, have empathy, educate yourself, and yeah, let's start to have the conversations and let's be responsible. Tamisha, thank you so much.
Thank
Everybody,
you for
thank you for
having
tuning
me.
in. This is Swag Her Magazine, and you were watching a segment of the MasterPiece Lounge with Chrisnatha DeRozier, and we will see you again soon. Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much.
Chrisnatha.
Thank
Bye.
you.